Welcome to Stories with Dice. This is Star Trek Magellan, a Star Trek Adventures 2nd Edition actual play podcast. If you're enjoying our actual plays, please subscribe to Stories with Dice so you'll never miss an episode. Don't forget to rate and review us. It really helps others discover the podcast. Follow us on social media to stay updated. You'll find the relevant links in the description of each episode. It is the early 22nd century, 4 years after the founding of the United Federation of Planets. 5 years since the end of the Earth-Romulan War. Starfleet has renewed their mission of peaceful exploration. But something has gone terribly wrong at Cradle Station, a research outpost on the edge of Federation space. The crew is dead, its lead scientist missing. The USS Magellan's mission? Unravel the mystery of Cradle Station and boldly go where no one has gone before. Last time on Star Trek Magellan, the crew uncovered a startling truth. The bio-organism extracted from an ice core at Cradle Station existed in a state of quantum superposition. This anomaly disrupted the researchers' synaptic functions, leaving their minds suspended between states, ultimately killing them. Beneath the ice, the crew discovered a monolith, one that delivered a chilling warning from a long-dead civilization. And now, the continuation. Let's actually pick up in the lab with the good doctor. Dr. Travis, which of these labs are you in?
Lab number 1 seems a fair lab because it's right next to the infirmary, so if I need anything from there, I can bring it across. So while they're messing about down underneath the ice, I'll go over to the lab and get things set up. I will request some medical equipment to be beamed down to my coordinates, and I will also request a assistant to help me.
Okay. Yeah, so your vessel has a crew support of 3, so you're using one of those to call down, let's say you call down the head nurse.
Shax, is it?
Shax, the Denobulan, yes.
So yes, we'll call him down, plus the equipment that is required for that. And I believe that as the chief medical officer, I have to spend points to get equipment.
Yes, you have no momentum at the moment because it's a brand new scene.
But chief medical officer allows you to have the reduce of that opportunity cost is by 1. So if it's 1, then it goes down to 0. And that also kind of helps with tasks and stuff.
That is good enough for me. So the one of the main things that you notice in this lab is that a lot of the equipment is broken. The walls, again, are scorched from energy weapons fire, but you do see containers that have bones in them. There are 3 containers, each labeled Specimen 1 through 3, and this is Specimen 1.
Okay, yeah, so I am now seeing what I would call is a miniature humanoid skull.
The note here is that it's an indigenous humanoid species classified as Iridani because the planet is Eridanus. And the notes say that among the remains, the skull belongs to the indigenous species of the planet, though its size suggests it may be from a young individual, or perhaps this was typical for the species. Carbon dating confirms that the remains are over 700 years old, providing a glimpse into a time when this species flourished on a world far different from the frozen one that it has become. So that is Specimen 1. This is Specimen 2.
Okay, so I am looking at another skull, which has got a lot of prominent brow ridges, quite thick skull around the edges, and a very kind of like, I would say from that, looks almost reptilian-like, potentially. If you put some skin on it, maybe, I don't know. It's got quite a long, elongated skull as well on the back.
Right, so the Species here says unknown, classified as, species name pending. And the notes say, discovered alongside the first set of remains, the skull exhibits distinct cranial ridges. The bone density is significantly thicker than that of the indigenous population, see specimen 1. And an analysis suggests an evolutionary adaptation to extreme environments or perhaps genetic modification more advanced than known science. Origin unknown, remains do not match any known species within Federation records.
Okay.
And then this is specimen 3.
Okay, so this is a very different skull. This has got a very flat, long, elongated skull. It's very kind of, dare I say, demonic looking, and has a lot of what looks like air sacs or something along the sides of its head and to the rear of it as well. Looks like there was some kind of void in its skull. It looks like it's got these large mandibles or something that it has as part of its jawline. Quite scary.
Right. And the age of all 3 of these are roughly 700 plus years old. So the notes here, also again, this says species unknown. So the notes here say, this skull displays an elongated shape with multiple hollow recesses where eyes would be. The structure suggests a species possibly adapted to low-light environments or even some form of perception beyond standard vision. Fragments of DNA extracted from the remains show partial matches to the proto-mantis recovered in the ice core sample.
Oh.
The origin of this species is unknown. The unique physiology raises questions regarding its interaction with the indigenous species and its role in the planet's history.
Interesting. Very interesting. Okay, so those weird sockets on the sides would have been eyes. So it would have had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 eyes potentially. Weird. Okay, thank you. Well, I get fascinated by that and end up forgetting about what I'm doing. I very quickly get distracted. I will scan everything to make sure there's no pathological vectors in the room, and I just try and clear as much as I can. We'll not take anything out of anything that's sealed. We'll definitely leave that, but I will make a log of it so that we can potentially catalog it and to give it to Starfleet as and when it's required. But yes, so I guess myself and Shax, while the others are down there, will go and pick up a body. Or would I be able to get, I guess this is Star Trek, right? So I can get someone to beam it from there into the lab. So the ship can beam a body from the snow down into the lab.
Yeah.
I will prepare. Does the lab have the ability to generate a shield to kind of keep any pathological things in?
Yes.
And I will go about doing that and doing whatever you need to do to kind of, in Star Trek terminology, would you wear a suit or would you just wear like a little mask? I don't know, whatever, protect me from any kind of pathogens while working in the shield.
You've brought down, along with whatever, in the equipment that you brought down was whatever protective gear you may need to perform in the autopsy.
And then this isn't my usual thing, so I'm going to perform an autopsy and scan as I go. What would you like me to do, Mr. GM, sir?
This is going to be control and medicine.
I don't think I've got any talents that can help me or any focuses really that can help me. So actually, no, I've got a focus called hazard awareness. So I guess that'll help stop anything from spreading, or if I'm going to get too close to kind of releasing any proto-metis or maybe something like that. If I could use that, then that'd be fine. If not,
I will allow it.
Cool. So now, if I have a focus that allows me to be used during the course of a roll, that means that I get a better chance at getting a critical. Is that correct?
Yes. So you're using a focus. So that means that any roll below your department, in this case, medicine, which is 4. So any roll 4 or lower becomes a critical instead of just a roll of 1. So basically a 20 is bad. It's a complication. It's a failure. A 1 is considered 2 successes. It's a critical.
Yeah. Cool.
Sort of the inverse of D&D, right? And if you're using a focus, then that critical expands to be anything of or below your department number.
Okay. How many successes do I need? 1. Okay.
Shax assisting on the task?
Shax is assisting.
Shax is assisting. Would somebody like to roll for Shax? Douglas, maybe?
Yeah, I mentioned it, so I guess I can roll for Shax. Would it just be, assume control and medicine as well?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I got 2 successes. Shaq's got 1.
Okay, so you have generated 2 momentum.
Excellent. What do I find out?
You find out that essentially your initial scans were correct. They died of hypothermia. The reason for their behavior is due to the damage to their synaptic pathways, and that the synaptic pathways, even in death, their synaptic pathways appear to be in a state of quantum superposition.
Are they really dead? I ask myself. Well, this one definitely is now that I've cut them open.
If you want to spend one of those momentum, I can perhaps give you some information that might help determine what caused this.
Think you'll find that I'm going to want to have some momentum spent, so I'll just spend one. Okay.
Okay, so you know that the human brain relies on bioelectrical signals, ions moving across synapses that transmit information. So if the alien DNA sample, the protomantis, the so-called protomantis, exists in a state of quantum superposition, it might emit a quantum coherent bioelectromagnetic field. These fields could have caused the neural pathways of the scientists to become entangled in superposition, leading to cognitive dissonance, which would then lead to erratic thought processes and the behavior that they exhibited that led to their death.
Would that mean that if someone was of a science bend, you'd be able to link that frequency to the quantum bioelectrical field or the equivalent to be able to scan and therefore find said protomantis?
Possible.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I guess we'll just take our time, make sure we do everything as thoroughly as we can. And yeah, I guess me and Shax get on quite well, so we will happily have a chat while we do such thing.
Okay, so let us return to the ice core platform, the chamber beneath the ice core platform, I should say. When we last left the three of you, your chief engineer did something. Neither one of you quite understand what or how he did it, but you heard a message transmitting through the science officer's tricorder.
Since I'm holding the tricorder, can I figure out where this message is coming from?
Yes, it's being transmitted from the monolith through the tricorder.
Okay, so if I point it towards the monolith, it gets louder, and if I point it away, it gets quieter, kind of thing.
Yes.
Captain, looks like this is coming from the monolith itself, but can I grab my other tricorder and scan it to see if I detect any technology? Because I didn't detect anything previously.
Correct. And yes,
Go
you
ahead.
can.
So still can't detect any sort of like transmitter or anything in there?
No, your own tricorder registers no known technology. There are no wires. It's just a solid piece of stone.
Relay that to the captain and to the science officer.
Really didn't hear anything.
It's just emanating these vibrations that the science officer's tricorder that you repaired appears to be picking up and translating for you, that you don't know why or how.
Okay. So can we find the source? So do you say the source is the monolith or?
Looks like it. So they've got a lot of mining equipment, so they might have like a laser or something we could use to try and like take a sample or cut into it. Maybe we could find something that way. I saw a shed like right next to it, so that's maybe where like all the equipment is. Go and see if it...
Before we tamper on the monolith, I think it would be better to check with the Starfleet, just in case. You know, we are in front of remains of an ancient civilization. I wouldn't want to defile it.
Fair enough. Mind if I go check out that shed while you're doing that?
Sure. Maris, can you perhaps check how old is this monolith?
Yes, and I agree. I wouldn't want to try and take a piece off of it just yet. We don't know how it's going to react if it is some sort of device that we're unaware of. Can I roll a science and a reason then?
Yeah. So you get your tricorder back from the engineer. The message has stopped playing.
So I'll roll a reason and a science. And what do I need for that?
This difficulty is 0, so you lose your generating momentum. Yep.
Okay.
You can just roll a 20. That also can happen.
With a complication, that's okay. So this chamber was built over 700 years ago, give or take. The monolith itself also dates back to around that same time. And then your tricorder shorts out and is no longer functioning. Smoke and sparks just kind of like come out of it.
I'm going to drop that sucker fast.
I'm trying to wonder if this monolith is kind of a communication device or recording device or kind of a repository of the knowledge of this civilization. What do you reckon, Maris? I mean, what do we have in front of us? Is this dangerous?
Undetermined, but it could very well be a recording device. It could very well be a repository of ancient civilizations' knowledge. It could be the source of the vibrations that could send things into superposition, and maybe they actually help the DNA to cross back and forth again. We're not sure. We don't have enough information.
Yeah, could be, for me, it's crucial to understand if the proto-mantis has any link to this monolith. It seems to me that there are two different things.
Yeah, there could be two different things, but one could serve an overall purpose. I don't have any reason to believe that DNA in and of itself can be put into a state of superposition without some sort of mechanical device, as what happened to me in the transporter accident. I didn't do that by myself. The mechanism did that for me. There is a very good possibility that this monolith is, in fact, some sort of device that can allow this proto-mantis to cross back and forth.
Like a quantum bridge?
I would assume so, yes. That's a very logical deduction.
So this could be potentially dangerous.
It could be, particularly if there is an unknown species. The message did say they will hear us. Well, who is they? We're not sure. This could be the doorway to who they are. And if it's listening, they could hear us. And the frequency was obviously attuned to their hearing sensitivities. That would be my assumption.
Too many questions, we don't have an answer. I don't know. How should we proceed, Maris? What should we do?
Well, I'm not against trying the ESP one more time, but the danger is would they hear me? Would they hear us through me? Because I'm not going to be I won't be trying to use my tricorder again. That's definitely not going to happen. So I'm happy to do that, Captain, if you think it's worth the risk.
I don't know. Let me think about it. Let's see what we get from the chief medical officer and if we get any more information regarding this proto-mantis, and then we can reevaluate if necessary.
Okay, agreed.
So are you calling up the doctor?
Yes.
Okay. So, Dr. Travis, your communicator is beeping.
I answer it. Captain?
Doctor, I would like to understand a little bit more what we have here. Have you found anything interesting on the scientists?
We have, but we've also found something very interesting in the lab. We have got 3 skulls, which it looks like there are 3 separate species on this planet around, well, I'd give or take 700 years ago. It might be worth you coming up here to have a look when you are free. I can then also give you a rundown of the pathology.
Let's do that. Maurice, let's go. Here, Rhodes, please don't touch the monolith until we are back.
Roger that, Captain. I'm on my way to the shed to have a look.
Okay, so as Chief Engineer Rhodes is on his way up the ladder to the shed, the two of you are on your way up the ladder and to the lab, one of the labs, to meet up with Dr. Travis and his head nurse.
Can I ask a question, Marco?
You may.
On the way to the shed, are the bodies still there?
Yes, except for one of them. One of them is missing.
And there's no signs of, being dragged away or anything. It's just gone.
Correct. There's just an indent in the snow where it used to be.
That's going to unsettle Rhodes a bit, just because he's like, well, the doctor didn't drag it away. What? But he's just going to be like, I'll ask the doctor when I get to the lab, and I'll carry on to the shed.
Okay. So the shed, by the way, let's just stick with you for a second. Inside, you find supplies for repair and maintenance. There's a workbench with some tools cluttered about. There's also a landing platform just outside the shed, which is where the station's transport was. It is not there now. And information inside the shed lets you know that the transport's top speed is warp 2. There is also a land vehicle here. So the land vehicle is there. The transport is missing, which tracks with the information you all received or you all gleaned from the Dr. Corby's office that he was taking the transport to go to the Corella system.
Can I give the land vehicle a quick survey and just see if it's working?
It is in perfect working order.
I'll just have a poke around the shed and just see if there's anything. Is it look like the equipment that they used for the ice core stuff is here?
Yes.
I'm going to see if I can find the the thing they use for core samples. Is that here?
Yes.
Is that like big enough to like carry around?
Yeah, you can carry it.
Okay. I'll pick that up because I might need that later. And then once I finish faffing around, eventually I'll head towards the doctor and that sort of thing. That'll probably take a while.
Yep, no problem. So, Maris and Captain, you are in the lab with the doctor and the nurse. Take it away, Dr. Travis.
Captain, I've kind of covered over the body of the scientist, I guess. So I've performed an autopsy, and absolutely, as we initially expected, they died of exposure and hypothermia. There was still specific damage to the synaptic pathways. Interestingly, those pathways are still in flux with a quantum cohesive bioelectrical field, which I'm afraid I was never my strong suit when I was at Starfleet Medical. So I will probably look to you, sir, and I look at Lev Maris to probably explain that in more detail. Essentially, though, it looks like, as we suspected, whatever was happening with their synaptic pathways caused them to lose whatever common sense they had. Whatever they were seeing or whatever they were experiencing led them to going outside and unfortunately perishing in the cold. Interesting enough, if you look behind me, I take them all to the three skulls. This one looks like is the Iridani, which is what they've called the species, which looks like to be the native species to the planet. We have another species which is unknown, and then a third species which is unknown. The third species, once I'd scanned it, appears to have the leftovers of the Protomentus in them. And you can see it's a very strange creature. It's got multiple eyes down the side of its head. I can only imagine what it would look like had it have skin on. It looks odd. Very odd.
Can we date these skulls? Are they recent?
To about 700 years. Whatever happened, they all died about 700 years ago. Obviously, I won't be able to tell you what. I can't see anything visually on the skulls to say there was any damage to the skulls. It looks like they're all perfectly fine. There's no that I can see. I guess, Marco, there's no sort of like blood force trauma to the skulls that I can tell.
No, none whatsoever. But as you're having this conversation with the captain, the corpse on the table sits up. The sheet covering it falls to its lap, and the dead scientist says, "They're awake," and his eyes open.
Yeah, this is exactly what Travis says, and points to the body that's just set up. Yeah.
Any readings? What is going on?
It's very likely that this is some quantum superposition activity going on here. Whether or not that's the voice of the actual scientist or it's the voice of someone else is uncertain.
Your tricorder's busted, so you're going to need to use either the captain's tricorder or the medical officer.
I can give him mine. It's
okay.
Fine.
Yep. Okay.
So we'll go with reason and science again?
Yes.
Okay. And I shall perform a roll.
You're gonna need 3 successes.
Right.
So you have 1 momentum left if you want to buy a die.
You can also give you threat, no?
You can also give me threat to buy dice, yes.
Is that a better option?
You don't generally want to give me threat,
No.
I mean,
if there's momentum to buy, use the momentum first.
Use the momentum, yeah. So then I go to 3 dice. Okay. All right. Ready to roll.
There you go.
There you go. Nice. Yeah, you're registering. So this ostensibly dead person, this corpse, their synapses are firing. When they died, part of their consciousness was perhaps still in the whatever other place they were in while being in superposition.
You think we can speak to it?
We could try vocalization and see if it actually hears. It may only operate one way.
I move in front of the corpse and I pose a simple question. Who are you?
Morrow.
Where are you?
Scientist.
Where are you?
I do not know.
What do you see?
Nothing. Where are you?
We are in Cradle Station.
Who's in Cradle Station?
Are still, at least your body. Who are they? Are they with you?
They are terrible! And then he just screams. And then, as loud and as horrifying as that scream was, he stops, like somebody just turned the volume off.
Is still standing up?
He's still sitting up, yes.
I'm gonna obviously check to see that he's actually dead, because he was dead when he came in and he's been cut open. So
he is
guessing
100% dead. There is no heartbeat, nothing, but there are synapses firing in his brain.
Yeah, okay. The cortical stimulate, or the cortical readings or whatever that I've got on his head is probably showing that. But
there's brain activity going on, but there shouldn't be. Like every bit of medical science tells you that this is not possible.
I think it may be time for a risk. Maybe I could use the extrasensory perception on the doctor.
Okay.
How does it work?
At any point during play, you can ask me for hints or insights about a current situation. Similarly, at any point during play, I can give them to you for threats, but you could refuse to accept the hint and therefore not take the threat.
Okay, well, Captain, I will defer to you. There's a great possibility that this could endanger us all, but I would risk it if you're willing to.
And we must. We need to understand who are they if there is a bigger risk. I don't want to put you to risk, so please pull out as soon as you can. Whatever you're doing.
Absolutely, Captain. Acknowledge.
So, Maris, you're getting this flash of insight, or this sort of strong feeling that Dr. Morrow, his mind is being shared by some other intelligent entity. There's someone else there in his head beside him, and they're speaking to you from some other reality.
Am I understanding what they're saying?
You're understanding Dr. Morrow, his voice is in your head, and he tells you that they destroyed the Protomentis sample and the ice core sample that it came from once they realized its danger. But they were too late. The damage to them had already been done.
So I'll relay that information to the captain.
And then you hear another voice that says, "We are coming."
Captain, there's definitely a third personality. Originally there was a duality. It was the doctor's voice, but somebody else was speaking through it. Now there is a direct threat. They said they're coming.
These entities must be able to speak through the quantum realm or whatever this is. Do we have any recordings of a species or something capable of doing this?
No record of it at all in any Federation database.
Way above my pay grade.
Should we ask them again, who are they?
Perhaps with your connection now might work.
Are we not worried that whoever they are will be honing in on where we are?
It's always a possibility. They'll be doing it through me as a conduit.
We don't even know what's going on here. We don't even know if they can travel through this quantum realm and appear. Is this like a teleportation?
I don't know, but I look at the skull that's got the multiple eye sockets and everything else. Why do I feel that the bad thing looks like that?
I think your instincts would be correct.
But I'm wondering if these things and this Protomentis is a native of this location. What about Corella?
Well, I think we said they were not native. Was that correct?
Correct.
Protomentis was not native for this planet.
Yeah, they were native from Corella, or at least they came from Corella.
Or a quantum realm? I look over at Lieutenant Commander Maris.
It wasn't native to Corella, but they found the same bones as Specimen 3 on Corella.
Yeah, so that's the link.
Right, exactly. It's a link. Lieutenant Commander Maris, you had asked Dr. Morrow a question. Was it? I can't remember what it was. Do you remember?
Who are they?
Who are they? Okay. So, again, you hear his voice in your head, and he appears frantic, perhaps frightened, in pain, and he says, I don't know. And then you, I'm spending 2 threat here, suffer a psychic attack and collapse to the ground. If you want to avoid this injury, you can take 4 stress. Otherwise, the injury will incapacitate you.
So if I take 4 stress, then what happens to me then?
It just means that you still have the injury, but you're not going to be incapacitated.
Right. Okay. So I'll take the stress track then.
So you see, Lieutenant Maris, you sort of get, like, you fall to your knees, holding your head in your hands, and he's like in agony, screaming in agony.
I will jump straight over to over to him and use the scanner, see what's going on, and get a hyperspray ready if there's any way to dull the pain, that kind of thing.
Yeah, your scanner's not really detecting anything other than really high, unusual synaptic activity going on in the brain. And corpse falls back down onto the slab.
Yeah, there's nothing I can really do for him at the moment. He's having the same issue that the corpse has had, which is his synaptics are being targeted. Well, I don't really have anything to do for that.
Can you give him something to calm him
And
down?
give him a sedative. I look at Lieutenant Commander Maris.
Yeah, it seems to be subsiding. He's kind of shaking it off a little bit.
Commander?
But he's going to have one hell of a migraine.
Here, take 2 of these and call me in the morning. Just give him like the equivalent of a very light painkiller. That's what I'll give him.
Any decent bottle of scotch will do that.
That's the other easy way. I'll help the Lieutenant Commander to his feet.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Maris. I know that was not easy for you.
No, it wasn't, but it was necessary.
Still remains the question, who are they and what do they want? What did they do to the people in this planet?
Wasn't able to gather that information before the psychic attack.
While they're chatting, I'll stick like a cortical monitoring device on the back of the Lieutenant Commander's head, and I'm just going to link it to my medical tricorder so I can monitor that. I'm a little concerned that he's opened up a gateway from wherever the hell it was to him, so I just want to keep an eye on his cortical synapses to see if they continue to work in a similar way that I think I've seen the others do it. Just on the off chance.
Okay, no problem.
Just a question. I don't know about this, Marco. Can I send a message to another ship? Let's say there is this Dr. Koryu that left for this other planet, Corella?
Dr. Corby, yeah.
Corby.
You can send a message. You can inform your ship to contact Starbase 12, or you know that there's a mining facility on Corella, so you could also contact the mining facility. Not from your communicator, though. You would have to do it from the bridge of your ship.
Imagine. And with the ship, how long would it take us to get there?
So Corella is 1 light year away, so it would take you 3 days at warp 5, which is your maximum safe cruising speed.
Okay, good. So we should be able to get there quite fast, I guess. And I'm just concerned. I've shared this with these people. With Commander Maris, Dr. Travis Rhodes, if around. I'm concerned about the safety of the other doctor that is traveling to Corella. I don't know if he's aware of the danger he's running, because he left before anything happened here. Just asking for your opinion on, that I think that we've found most of the information or important information that is relevant to the other expedition moving to Corella, and I'm afraid that if we don't reach them on time, something similar might happen to them or even spread to other locations. And, there is a mining facility on Corella, so I think we must travel. We probably are the closest ship.
Well, there's still some questions to be answered here. I would agree that for the safety of the other expedition, we would need to contact them immediately.
Yeah, I don't know if we can do both, but I think we probably should take off as fast as possible and request the Starfleet to check the rest of the facility if necessary and share all our information.
Agreed.
Got a question for it. How did you get the body in? I didn't notice any sort of drag marks or anything from the site.
I transported it from inside.
Right. Are you sure the transporter couldn't have messed with the biology of the body?
He's a doctor, not an engineer.
Damn right, Jim.
I am an engineer, so I know that the transporters are not, at this point, 100%. Bad things happen with transporters still.
Are you suggesting it's the same thing happened to this corpse that had happened to me a few years ago?
Well, as far as all the other bodies hadn't done anything, but the only body that did anything was the one that you used the transporter on.
We're currently indoors rather than outdoors, so for all we know, the other bodies are already doing whatever they're doing, but we're not there.
I walked past them. They were not doing anything when I walked past them twice.
Body wasn't doing anything until you were here. Sorry, Captain. Yes, I think it's a good idea that we should try and find the doctor to make sure he's okay. I agree with Lieutenant Commander that, yes, we should definitely get in touch with Starfleet to get in touch with the previous people that arrived on the planet. I think that we should definitely check the other labs and any other remaining rooms here before we go back. I suppose, Steve, maybe we get a shuttle back if you're worried.
As I say, it's sort of the logic of transporters is, if you think about it, you're technically looking at a copy of the body, almost. So I've read stuff about like things changing during transport and psychosis and that sort of thing.
Sorry, what do you mean a copy of the body?
Steven's like, do I really want to get into this sort of ins and outs of like...
And then I realised that I'm speaking to Steve and realised that I could probably be here for quite a few number of hours.
Steve doesn't particularly like transporters per se.
We'll wait till a bottle of scotch and we're travelling to wherever we're travelling next before we have that conversation.
Yeah, I think we are moving out, guys. Gentlemen, I think we need to move on. Quick, check the other 2 labs in case there is anything that we missed, but I'm afraid we should be leaving this location and moving rapidly to Corella.
Captain, what do you want to do with all the samples?
What kind of samples did you recover? Do you mean
the
skull and all this?
And the bodies and anything else we happen to find.
We'll transmit the Starfleet to pick anything here. I think our mission is elsewhere to try to save Dr. Coryu.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you're leaving the bones here. You're leaving the bodies. Just taking the data, the data that you've acquired on your tricorders, and you're returning to the ship.
Yes, we'll check quickly lab 2 and lab 3, I guess, just in case there is any other specimen around that's, like quickly.
Yep, you do a thorough, quick search of the rest of the outpost, and you find nothing. You don't find the Protomantis sample. You don't find any of the ice core samples that they drilled, so perhaps the corpse was telling you the truth when he told you that they destroyed them.
Before we go back to the Magellan, do we still have the broken tricorder?
Yes, as far as I know, you do.
So I wanted to diagnose the tricorder to figure out what actually happened.
Okay.
Because if there's like weird frequencies going on, that stuff can mess with transporters and things.
Okay.
So just checking if there's any relevant focuses. Would jury rigging count? Because I'm trying to analyze my jury rig.
I will allow it. It's a little bit of a stretch, but I'm feeling generous. You need 2 successes. Holy smokes.
I got 4 successes on that. I'm good at my job.
So you have 2 momentum before you beam away to use. You'll lose 1 when you beam away. You want to use them to ask?
I was going to say, would I be doing this back on the ship if we're trying to beam
Okay, yeah, no, I was confused.
I just want to make sure we didn't, like Mars just didn't chuck it on the floor and leave it.
All right, okay, no, I was confused. I thought that was something you wanted to do before you beamed away. Okay, yeah,
it was before we start the next scene or whatever, flying off somewhere else.
Yep. Okay. So you've beamed back to the Magellan. We can say that Mr. Rhodes there's probably an office somewhere out near main engineering where you're doing that job.
Throw main engineering.
You're doing that work. Everyone, you can just move your guys around to wherever you want to be. I imagine maybe you guys want to be on the bridge. So, Mr. Rhodes, you have been tinkering with the tricorder. With Maris's tricorder, and the monolith was emitting vibrations at certain frequencies. And when you repaired the tricorder, when you jury rigged it, those frequencies somehow took control of the device. You don't really understand how it did it. And again, the monolith was just a piece of stone. It wasn't even a machine as far as you could tell. But the monolith somehow co-opted the tricorder, used it to enhance the frequencies that it was sending out so that they were audible, and then also translating them into your language. And all of that burnt out its circuits.
So whatever is on that planet has the ability to co-opt other technology. If it's tuned correct.
That is a good estimation, yes.
But can I just spend 1 momentum of the 2 that I got, just to rule out that it could mess with the transporters or signals or that in any sort of way?
You cannot rule that out at all.
No, I can't rule that out.
Yep, you're going to stay very paranoid.
Okay, once I've got that, I'll send that information up to the captain, and also probably the comms officer to see if like they can figure out some sort of like translate into the universal translator or something like that.
Okay.
It was obviously like the frequencies were equaling some sort of language as it was.
Mhm.
So I'll send all the data. I will inform the captain that yes, the thing was co-opting our tech, as in it was taking control and modifying it on the fly. So if we come across something like else, beware, because the technology might not necessarily be telling us correct information.
Maris, could you mind working with Miss Yamamoto to send all the relevant information to Starfleet so they are aware of the situation and they can send a crew to clean up Cradle Station, please?
Yes, Captain.
In the meantime, I want to send a message to the mining station in Corella to basically try to see if they can intercept the ship of Dr. Koryu. Tell them to contact us as soon as possible and to stay in orbit and do not go to the planet.
Well, he's been there for over a month, so...
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Because his transport vessel is significantly slower than your starship, so it took him like a month to get there.
Yeah, I missed that. Okay. I'm gonna ask Jancom, which is our navigator, to input the coordinates of Corella and, to start the preparation.
So the scene changes to an exterior view of the Magellan, breaking orbit. Space is bending around it in waves of light. Its course is set. 3 days at warp 5, moving fast on the Corella system. And then we get an interior shot of the bridge. We settle on the communication station, and a distress signal crackles over the comm. The transmission is distorted, barely holding together across the vast distances of space. A frantic voice. "This is Cressida City, operated by the Orpheus Mining Authority to any Starfleet vessel. We are under attack." And then there's a sudden burst of static, and the message fractures, overwhelmed by interference. Words slip through in broken gasps. "Anomaly, they're coming.